Good morning, my lovelies. Let's toast on this gloomy Wednesday. And I want to share something with you guys. But let's do this first. Cheers. Okay, water like immediately. Okay. So very quickly, I want to show you guys the outfit because I'm so happy with how this came out. These shoes are so cute and so perfect. The bag is fuzzy Hello Kitty. This, I don't know what this is called, but she is from my favorite store of all time called Papaya that I used to go to at the mall. And yeah, I'm just loving the fur, like I'm loving the fur. And now I want to talk to you guys about something that I don't know that people talk about a lot in recovery. There's so many things like that we go through. There's so many things like to get used to. And for me, something that's really like odd to get used to is thinking about like having a future. I used to live like moment by moment. The only thing that I was concerned with really was just staying well. Every day was like hustle or, acquiring things. And that was like my entire life was based around. Like I keep getting memories like flooding back to me. And, there was a reason that I lived like that because I wasn't just someone using a substance. I was also completely homeless. And living a life of like persecution. And today I flash back to like a few things. I don't do this on purpose, but like memories come back to me and it's weird. I thought about another ex of mine who didn't make it. He was, I'm gonna say this without this getting removed, he was like murdered. Laughing at the term, not at it happening. He was, I'll put something there, 25 times in the parking lot that we used to walk home to his house every single day. I think it was a Circle K parking lot. And I wasn't with him at the time. I started thinking about it because just like all this kind of flooded back to me. And he and I used to hustle together, and I lived with him at his dad's house. And we would hustle all day, then we would score, and then we would take the bus home. Neither of us had a car. At that point in my life, I was no longer driving. And so we would ride the bus together. We actually met hustling, but there was one time, this actually I think was the last time I ever saw him, that we had gotten to the bus early. He knew that he had warrants and that the cops would be looking for him. And so we got on the bus, even though it was like waiting. I don't remember why. They were like waiting for people to arrive, but it sat there for a while until this whole group of police, because everyone knew who he was there, like police-wise, came onto the bus and like dragged him off because he had just gotten warrants. Like the warrants popped up that morning and he knew that was coming. And I remember talking to him on the phone because he called me and he was telling me, he was definitely going to prison, and he wasn't just going to prison for like a moment. Like he was going to prison for a long time. And it was really sad. I started thinking about how, he even told me, like, you don't need to wait for me because it would be so long. And it hit me today, like, that, we lived like that. Like, there was no future. I was well aware of the fact that not only with the substances that I was putting into my body, but the life that I was living, everything was so moment by moment. And to think of waiting years, I didn't know that I would still be alive. And that's what my life was. I knew at any moment I could just disappear, just like him, just like other people that I loved. And I found this out later from some of his friends that when he got out, there were some people that jumped him because he was selling for a while. And even though he didn't have anything on him, they thought that he did. And so they didn't stop to ask questions. They just ended him and then looked in his backpack and nothing was there. He didn't have anything on him. I think he was actually trying to be sober. And that was just so sad because that was the life. You never knew when something like that would happen. And I walked home with him every single day for a while. Wasn't with him an incredibly long time, but long enough that that was like our little routine, was walking through that parking lot every day to get to his dad's house and then go home and, you know, hit and then lay down and go to sleep in his room and watch TV. And that was like our existence. And, you know, it wasn't like we talked about that, but like you just kind of knew that you never knew what was going to happen. You never knew who was going to get hauled off to prison and then you wouldn't see them for years. You didn't know who was just going to not make it one day. I watched someone not make it. I got dropped off at a house. My plug was finding places for me to stay, and he dropped me off at this house where I didn't actually know anyone, and a whole bunch of people were using, and this guy, this was like way back at the beginning, and this guy hit me and then himself, and then I came out into the living room and was like sitting with everyone, and then we hear this thud, and this dude fell over and started making these noises that I will never forget. And somebody was screaming like, because this is a long time ago. This is like 20 years ago. So NARCAN was different. It was like a intramuscular thing, I think, and people started screaming, does anyone have it? And I was like, I know someone who does. She lives down the street. And so we called her and she booked it over there, but no one even knew what to do with it. And there was all these arguments going on about how do they do that. And then everybody told me to just get out of the way. And then when I left, they told us to leave because they were going to call 911 and they didn't want anybody at the house. And that guy didn't live. And that was the life. You never knew when that was going to happen. You never knew what was going to happen next. I never knew where I was going to sleep or how I was going to eat. It was just this rhythmic routine of staying well and dodging whatever was flying at you, like life-wise. And I have so much like trauma that I didn't even realize at the time, because you're just living it and everything's just happening. But, you know, now I realize this stuff was like crazy and it haunts me and it haunts my dreams. And I just sometimes wonder how I'm even still here. Really wonder that. There are so many times that I really shouldn't be here, but I don't take that lightly. I really don't. And that's why I'm here talking about this, so that the people still out there can know that there's a way to come back and that you are never too far gone, and to hopefully give hope to those of us who are fighting in recovery to be here, you know, every day, because sometimes it really is a battle, that I am fighting with you and that I am not going back to that. And if you've made it to recovery, you don't ever have to go back to that either. We made it, and now we recover out loud so we can bring as many back as we can, because now there's videos on how to use NARCAN. Nobody even barely knew what it was back then. So many things have changed, and you can find a way back, and we're gonna save as many people as possible.